What's going on, YouTube? So I'm up here on the top of Chautauqua. I think that's how you pronounce it. I got a job site up here to the right that I've been to for over a year now. But this is the first time I've been up here since the fires. And when I came up here originally, I was like, where am I? I don't even know where I'm going. I just couldn't even, I didn't recognize the place. You know, that's how bad it was. So being up here on Chautauqua, you can basically see everything. This is everything down there is the Palisades, and it'll continue to go all the way up there to the top. This is Chautauqua. All of those houses down there. These used to be some of the most beautiful houses. They really were. And if you look at all this mess. In 3 months and none of it's been picked up. I don't know how far you can see. But basically the entire city down there is wiped out. There's a couple of buildings still standing, but they also have, just because they're standing doesn't mean that they're not severely damaged, you know? Okay, so I'm gonna try to show you some streets. Sorry, I'm chewing bubblegum right now, so if you hear me clicking, that's why. Look at this. Do you know how hard it's gonna be to remove debris from these properties that are alongside the hills? Like, these ones up here on the top that are flat, like, okay, it's not that bad. But these ones that are overlooking the cliffs, and they're all up in the hills, it is going to be extremely challenging. Okay, so there's a little sticker right there on the sign, so I can't really see what the street is. I think it's, let's see. So this is Chautauqua and Brea, or Berea. I don't know how to pronounce it. I'm gonna go over here. There's another guy at the job site that I'm going to, dropping off 8 tons of rebar, and I got 10 tons of rebar on the truck, so I'm just waiting for him to get unloaded. While he's getting unloaded, he's gonna be up there for a little while. I thought I'd utilize the opportunity to just get some footage. I mean, look at this house right here on the side of the cliff. There's gonna be a lot of debris that has probably fallen off down on the property below it. I mean, it doesn't really matter because everything's gone. But see if I can zoom in and you guys can see. Try to pan it slow. I didn't even recognize the place when I came up here. I haven't been up here in a while. And I remember how challenging it was to get up to the job site in particular because there was so much foliage and trees that was that would obscure your vision when you were backing up, especially early in the mornings when you have the sunlight shining in your eyes. Look at this. apologize if the filming isn't as good as it should be. I'm not a, photographer. This is just Cameron on his iPhone. You know how challenging it's going to be to remove this structure safely? Look, they had a car down here. They must have had like an elevator or something. You park your car and the car would get lowered down to the second floor or something. Yeah, remember, these people that live in these areas are extremely wealthy, right? Like, the only reason why you live here is because you can afford to. So a lot of these people who live in these communities, they have a lot of exposure, I'm assuming, to the stock market. So now not only are they going to be dealing with these fires, well, the aftermath of the fire, they're also going to be dealing with this problem that we're seeing in the stock market. And you know what? We haven't even felt the effects right now. It's just everyone's speculating what's going to happen. It's such an eerie feeling. Coming up here and seeing things from a different perspective. This is the first time I've been up here in probably 4 or 5 months, something like that. And now that all of these houses are burned down, it's literally like a bomb was dropped on the whole city. You've got utility companies, Department of Water and Power, gas companies, construction companies, you got lumber, rebar, sandbags, plywood, plumbers, electricians, concrete guys. It's unbelievable. And now these people are going to be dealing with potentially very high rebuilding costs. So not only is the cost to rebuild your house going to go up because of the very high demand for builders, right? So that's going to just add to labor costs. And I think that some of these people are so wealthy that what they'll do is they'll hire a contracting company, and they'll say, I want you to rebuild this house. And the contractor's going to say, look, man, I've already got 10 people booked right now. I can get you in, but you're going to have to wait a little while. And the guy's going to be so wealthy, he's going to say, you know what? Screw those other 10 guys. You're going to build my house first, and I'm going to pay you double, or I'm going to pay you 20% more to rebuild the house. You're probably going to see people bidding for contractors, and I mean, that's one possibility, I suppose. It hasn't happened yet, so I'm just speculating, but I'm sure there will be instances of that. But now you're talking about these tariffs as well. And you know, everything that I transport and deliver to these communities, for the most part, like lumber, plywood, 2x4s, rebar, all different types of building materials, you know, you got nails, it's all imported. It's all imported from Canada, China, and Mexico. And if these tariffs actually take effect and the price of these goods goes up by 20 to 25%, who knows where it's gonna go? Like, you know, nobody really knows. I have no clue what's gonna happen. Rebuilding costs, not just from a labor perspective, but from a building material perspective as well. Like, rebuilding is gonna go way up. If in fact you're able to rebuild in these communities, it's going to be so strenuous and stressful to rebuild a house overlooking this. Like, you know how hard it's going to be to rebuild a house right here on the side of a cliff? You know how hard it's going to be to get a permit? You know, let alone a contractor who's willing to do the job. You know, you're gonna have to pay the guy a premium. You're gonna have to get building permits. You're gonna have to be, and then now you're gonna have to deal with the insurance company. Oh my God, talk about a nightmare. I mean, think about it. If you were an insurance company, would you want to insure this house right here on the side of a cliff? I mean, I wouldn't. You know, it's so funny looking at these swimming pools. Obviously, they're going to be infested with mosquitoes because I'm getting lit up by them right now. I remember hearing, I don't know, I forget if it was, I read an article or if I heard it on a podcast or something like that. Swimming pools, or excuse me, not swimming pools, but when the city goes around spraying for mosquitoes, like they do, you know, pest control. In 2008, they actually used, I think they called it like the swimming pool indicator. They used data from the city. You know, when the city had to spend a lot more money going around spraying for mosquitoes back in 2008 because there were so many houses that were in foreclosure that the people just walked away from their swimming pools, and the swimming pools weren't being maintained. And as a result, the mosquito population in Los Angeles County exploded. So the city was spending and allocating a lot more funds to pest mitigation, or, you know, just spraying for mosquitoes, I guess. I wonder if we'll see that happen. You know, obviously, 2008 was a lot different, but I think they call it it's a recession indicator, the mosquito indicator, right? When the city allocates a lot of funds to pest control, or, you know, spraying for mosquitoes, because of all the foreclosures in the neighborhood. People are walking away from their properties. I'm not sure what's going to happen to this community, but I've heard the other day on the news that land in the Palisades was selling for anywhere between 10 to 30% less than pre-fire market value. So, I mean, it depends on your situation, but I suppose like that could be a good thing for you. If you're a potential investor, you might be able to get some land in the Palisades at a good price, 10 to 30% less than what you would have had to spend pre-fire. But if you're a property owner, I'm not sure how good that is for you, you know. And if you are thinking about staying in the Palisades, it's still very early to tell what's going to happen to the real estate market in the Palisades. I can't really comprehend or wrap my head around how this is good for real estate, but I'm not a realtor, so I don't know. It's not my profession, and I don't specialize in it, so I really don't know. If you want to learn about how to drive a truck, I can teach you that, but it fascinates me. I would love to read more about the real estate market and how these fires are going to impact property values in the future going forward. Or maybe even potentially get my real estate license in the near future and become more educated on the topic, and we'll see what happens though. I don't know. It can be very interesting. Okay, so now we're on Palisades Road. Chautauqua and Palisades. Let's see. So we're heading back. Got a long walk. That truck's gonna be up there for a while, unloading rebar at the job site. It's a very narrow driveway, and there's not a lot of room to turn around and stuff. What do you guys think is gonna happen to the real estate market in the Palisades? Leave that in the comment section. If any of you are realtors, or you specialize in housing data analytics, or housing data in particular, what do you think is going to happen to the real estate market in the Palisades? Is what I say true? I don't know. That's just I'm just parroting what I heard, but on the news the other day, I heard that property or land values, I should say, are down anywhere from 10 to 30%, depending on your location. Is that true? I would say that it's from somebody who's uneducated in the real estate market. I would say that the demand for housing in Palisades is probably I don't know, not very high. There's probably not a lot of people looking to buy houses here right now. I don't know, that may all change in the future, especially when we're in this high interest rate environment, right? Like mortgage rates are what? 6.5 to 7.5%, depending on your credit, which is still, I guess, historically not that high, but over the last 20 years, they've been a lot lower than that. So 6.5 to 7.5% mortgage in comparison to what mortgage rates have been over the last 20 years, that is pretty high. That's really high. When just not too many years ago during COVID, people were getting sub 3% mortgages. So double, it is high. And I think that the data is reflecting that. Demand for housing in general is pretty subdued. Apparently the mortgage application rate is at a 30-year low. In other words, interest rates are so high that people don't want to take out money to borrow to buy a house. Obviously, demand for different cities and regions around the country can vary. You know, there are certain markets that are hotter than others. Like, that makes perfect sense. Location, 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 right? Which is why it will be very interesting to see how this all unfolds in the Palisades in Malibu, because these are some of the best locations, even though, as you know, building a home on the side of a cliff like this is just a complete nightmare. But as you can see, you get some spectacular views, and that's really the reason why these people build on the sides of cliffs. It's just because of the view. Getting my workout today, huh? Going up these hills. All right, guys, so right here might be a good place to cut it off. It's been a 20-minute video. So again, I wanted to say thank you to all of the people who have been liking, commenting, and subscribing to my channel. I really appreciate it. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe as well if you want to see more of the rebuilding process, and or if you want to listen to me just ramble and rant, share with you guys some of my thoughts. Whew. Anyways, thank you so much, guys. I appreciate all of your support. Until next time.